Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. It is I, Jesse Milestone, coming to you on this Friday with both good news and bad news.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Where people were just walking around, just jizzing force all over the place. He looks like he has been drinking soy from his mother's teat. Wrap yourselves in, guys, because we are gonna get mean!
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone. I am your God Empress and fearless leader of the Mindless Mob. And, well, they listened to me, guys. They listened. They've been listening to me all along. I've been saying it all along. Now, before I say what I've been saying all along, guys, I will be spoiling the Batman for you. If you haven't seen it but have been kind of following along, I should give you enough context to understand what we're talking about here. But if you are interested in seeing it and do not want spoilers, then wait to watch this video until you have seen it. Anyway, like I said, they've been listening. I've been saying the same things. I've been saying, look, if you want to stick your woke agenda into our movies, or your movies, anybody's movies, there's a way that you can do it that's not going to piss so many people off. And it's not hitting us over the head with your agenda. It's not going social justice propaganda films a la Judas and the Black Messiah, where you suck every little bit of nuance out of what should otherwise be a very interesting and complicated biopic so that we make sure we know who the hero is. No, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it, as I've said, you can look at movies since the dawn of time that have messages in it that you may or may not agree with, that have been slipped in many cases so subtly you don't even know that they're there. Or if you do, they're not so obvious or brutalizingly overt that you can't just enjoy the movie and sort of just take it or leave it. Take the parts you like and leave the parts you don't. That's the way to do it. That is exactly what I've been saying. And that is what the Batman kind of seems to want to do, because this is, by the way, in case you're asking the question, this movie's message is very woke. Yes. Is this a woke propaganda piece? No. It's not hitting you over that. It's not going to bash you in the face with this woke messaging, except for maybe the ending, throughout most of the film. And so normally I would say, yeah, okay, great. You've done it. You've done the thing. Congratulations. You made a very watchable, even enjoyable film where you've slipped your little social justice agenda into it, and I can take it or leave it, whether I want it or not. But for two reasons. There are two reasons why I cannot be just fine with this being, okay, a type of movie that exists in the world. And one is you fucked up. You done goofed in multiple places. There are multiple places where this messaging becomes glaringly obvious. And this just showcasing, highlighting the problem, once again, with making your angle of wokeness or social justice part of your film, is that you then need to do everything else to cater to that. And so the parts where it goes wrong, you then lose everything in going for the subtle messaging by beating us over the head with these really, really awkward moments. And so they come up in the movie really in one of two ways. One is just some general characterizations, which we'll go over in a second. And the other is just these few awkward moments that upon watching, I didn't necessarily always realize why I was responding that way to those moments. And I sort of had to think about it and dig it out and went, oh, that's why that didn't work. All right, so the characterization, like I said. Now, beyond your basic obviousness. Now, the thing is, they wrap your basic white man bad, everyone else good message in like a solid class one. Okay, yeah, the evil, corrupt politician. We can all get behind that. It just so happens that all of our evil, corrupt politicians are white men. And it just so happens that anybody in the story who is not evil and corrupt, who is particularly in any way standout virtuous, is a person of color, as a matter of fact. So there's just that to chew on. But that doesn't alone make a movie woke or problematically woke in its messaging. No, it could just be perhaps realistic to a certain, factions of life. Sure, that's possible. They could be telling a real story that has those characters in those roles. Abso-fucking-lutely. But not when all of your protagonists are Mary Sues. Batman, Catwoman, fucking Jim Gordon, Mary fucking Sues, because that's a point. That is a trope in woke messaging, right? Your protagonist characters, and even Batman, who's not fully your good guy in this, we're led to believe he is for most of the story. And just in general, most of your characters don't have arcs. They don't grow. They don't have interpersonal challenges to meet and defeat and watch them change and expand as people. Because that that defeats the core message of what this new social justice is, which says that people are inherently intrinsically good or bad, and that's based on your skin color. So not that new of an idea, just sort of flip what you'd expect, where like the white people are just inherently intrinsically bad and everyone else is inherently intrinsically good based on their skin color. And because of that, we have to strip our characters, especially our people of color characters, of any possible flaws or reasons to need to grow or change as people, because that would be acknowledging that they're not that great. Which is why, because Batman, they play a little smokescreen trick with you where you're supposed to think he's like that until the end when he has his turn, this big reveal. But again, we'll get to that. So that's why they have to be these black and white, perfectly whatever. I mean, Jim Gordon literally has this magical in with Batman that he's had for 2 years that just no one really questions that much. And he seems to like consistently undermine his boss by bringing Batman to crime scenes and passing on sensitive material that really should jeopardize his position, but doesn't seem to in any way at all. Very convenient for you, Jim. And in fact, the biggest obstacle to him becoming the commissioner, that being that there is another existing commissioner, is gone because the fucker's dead by like the end of the second act. So probably the first act even. Jesus H. Christ. So, in this video, Jesus' middle name starts with an H. Sometimes it starts with an F. Sometimes I don't fucking care. Random aside, over. Okay, I'm Jewish anyway. Who gives a shit about either of those statements? Any of those statements. I'm off on a tangent now. Let's get back on track. Catwoman, also a Mary Sue, right? Catwoman, how did she become a literal fucking ninja? After growing up as an orphan street rat, bastard child of a mob boss. Like, by the way, she's kicked out of the mob boss's protection when she's way too young to become Catwoman. So, like, how does she learn all this shit? How is she, like, again, a literal ninja? Between her and Bruce Wayne, it's a miracle that there is any crime left in Gotham, because Batman just walks through bullets like they don't even affect him. Batman is not only bulletproof completely, he's also bomb-proof to the point when a bomb, like not just like his suit, his skin is bomb-proof, because a bomb strapped to another man's collar explodes in his face, and he is standing as close to the bomb as my hand is to my face here, and he does not get his hands up in time, and the camera angles, everyone that they choose to show you clearly illustrates that fact, and yet he's fucking fine. Not a burn scar on those perfectly emo features, because yeah, every time he takes off the bat mask, he's like crying eyeliner. It's weird. So yeah, really weird. Notably, only one time where Batman is knocked on his ass and needs to do something special, and is like actually seen as, oh my god, he's gonna get killed in this moment, dear lord. And that, by the way, also, that's one of those weird, glaring, awkward moments. That's why it stands out in the movie as such an anomaly to everything else that happens. But we'll get there. I want to take us first to that first really glaringly weird, awkward moment where I'm just like, why did this happen? And this is little like mind dance they try to do to justify one of the Riddler's clues, which is El Rata Alada, the rat with wings. And so they think it's the Penguin at first, but then they realize later it's Falcone, who's just Falcone in this movie, because I don't know, maybe they didn't think that the audiences would be smart enough to differentiate between Falcone and Maroni, or maybe they thought the audiences wouldn't make the leap between Falcon and Falcone if it was Falcone instead of Falcone. I don't fucking know. But anyway, that's a change. That's a thing that happens. So anyway, because the falcon has wings too, by the way. That's why it's the rat with wings, because the rat part is just about it being an informant, and then so they just pick two different bird-related people. They get it wrong the first time. Why? I don't know, because they're stupid. Not for the reason they'll have you believe, which is they get the pronoun wrong, which becomes a plot point. And it just turns out that if they had gotten the pronouns right earlier, that they would have gotten this additional clue. It really has nothing to do with the actual clue of who this rat with wings is or any of that stuff. And I really don't understand the mental gymnastics that they get from L being the wrong L instead of la, and so U are L, and so U are L. It doesn't make any sense, and it seems to me it's only stuck in here so that we can have a plot point of, oh, they got it wrong because they messed up the pronoun, and if they had just gotten the pronouns right, they would have figured everything out in time. Like, what a weird, awkward plot point to throw in there, unless you're really, really concerned with making sure everyone in society really fucking gives a shit about pronouns. But whatever. Now, the next really awkward thing, and this just doesn't fit at all, because nothing is done with this character, and that's your incumbent, or you're not your incumbent, you're the woman challenging for mayor. I didn't bother to learn her name. She's super social justice insert character. She's a black woman. She's running for mayor against the evil, corrupt white man on the platform that she's gonna take him down, and she literally does nothing in this movie. She is like, you see her on TV talking about her platform, and then she just confronts Bruce Wayne at a funeral, because that's at the funeral for the guy she was running against. Because this is a classy move, right? Literally walking into a funeral for the guy you were running against until he was brutally murdered, and you want to go up to Bruce Wayne and be like, excuse me, how come you didn't give him my campaign money? Like, literally, that's your thing. That little bit in the trailer where you think it's like some reporter or somebody hammering Bruce Wayne on why he hasn't done more with his fortune, why he's not this philanthropist. No, it's literally just her being like, obviously I'm the right choice, so why haven't you given me money? I mean, it's like, wow, you couldn't have been more AOC if they had just made you the right fucking race for that. AOC, notably not black. Any hoozle. I digress once again. Yeah, so that's awkward. And then she gets this other great shining moment at the end where Jim Gordon, I don't know, he's a lieutenant or the commissioner at this point, whatever. Fucking Commissioner Gordon is like, don't go on the stage because they'll shoot you if you do. And she's like, I have to do it anyway to, could show it that I'm strong for the people. And then she does and she gets shot. That's weird, right? If you don't understand how movies are made, this is weird to have a character say, don't do this thing or exactly this will happen. Have the other character go, I'm going to do it anyway, and have exactly that happen. Like, you either don't give them the warning, we just all understand what's going to happen and go, oh no, and watch it happen, or you give them the warning and she doesn't do it. What's the point? What's the point of giving her this big old warning if she's just going to fucking ignore it? The point is to insert, and this is something that's, if you look for this is showing up in countless movies, and a lot of these social justice propaganda films that beat you over the head with the messaging have this element in it somewhere, where somebody tries to do the right thing and go reach across the aisle and make friends with the enemy and just treat them like a person, like they could understand if we just talk to them, and they get fucked for doing it. Because the message is very, very clear. Do not try to reach the other side. Do not try to change their minds or talk to them or treat them like people or give them any sense of sympathy or give them a chance. No, they're the bad guys. They're the wrong thing. They are the enemy, full stop, end. That's what this character is here for, to remind you what the good guys are supposed to look like, therefore reminding you what the bad guys are supposed to look like. It's not pleasant if you're, a white person just trying to deal with society who's not particularly racist to anybody. But what should I know? Because according to the internet, I am just the worst. I am the biggest fucking social justice warrior and the biggest Nazi asshole racist. Who knew? So the last thing that just doesn't work in this movie is just the characterization of Bruce Wayne himself, specifically Bruce Wayne. We're talking about the guy underneath the mask, right? Because actually, look, they did a solid job with the Batsuit, honestly. However, it looked crappy in production stills. They obviously knew how to light it. They knew how to shoot it. It looked good. Pat held up. I don't really like the guy, and I didn't really think he did a great Bruce Wayne either. But his fucking Batman, I got nothing bad to say about it. His Bruce Wayne even, I think he's a little whiny. I think he just doesn't read as a man, all of these things, but I could have tolerated that. They just don't write him. They just don't write any character for Bruce Wayne whatsoever. And that's this last really glaring, obvious, awkward part, is the recontextualization of everything that Bruce Wayne is and his family and what it stands for. And this, of course, right, because you have to dismantle, we have to just divorce Batman from the idea, Bruce Wayne, from the idea that he's a good or virtuous person, because, well, he's a rich white man. And the thesis behind any bit of wokeness is that no matter who you are, no matter what you've been through, justifiable trauma or not, if you have privilege, you need to check your privilege above all else. It does not matter what else you're going through or dealing with, you have to check your privilege first and foremost, which takes us back to that glaringly awkward scene. The one-time Batman who is bomb-proof is down on his luck and needs adrenaline to help himself, which, by the way, all right, I guess that's your gadget choice for this movie, but it's a little lame when we literally watch a Batman walk through bullets like they're nothing. Also, our previous on-screen Batman, trained with giant tires and shit to try to physically be strong enough to fight fucking Superman. And I'm not justifying either of those choices or the realism therein. I'm just saying, this is a big fucking step down. I need a shot of adrenaline. Really, Batman? Really? Okay. So he needs this, and he still gets a gun in his face, because obviously, bombs in his face are no issue, but guns in his face, terrifying, because guns are evil, as we all know. And this guy, wants to be all, I am vengeance. And that's when Batman has this moment of realization, oh my God, I'm the bad guy after all. I'm just the evil white man running around, jizzing my privilege all over everyone, just like Ray jizzes force all over everyone's fucking face. T-shirts on sale on my fucking T-shirt. Anyway, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Oh, now I've got to recontextualize. Oh, I have to re-understand, which is like, well, which is part of this journey of the third act. Let me re-understand my whole family history, my whole family legacy, because that's why, by the way, let's check Bruce Wayne on it in two ways. Because it's either or. It's either your daddy was a doctor and a great man who was going to go run for mayor and clean up the city and left you this giant charitable organization, this wealth and fortune that you did literally nothing with, that you just squandered and sat on your ass until you decided the best way to uphold daddy's legacy was to put on a Batman suit and run around the streets at night. So one, check your privilege there, bat boy. You didn't really have it all that bad. You're just a whiny little spoiled brat. Or two, well, your dad was actually a super corrupt a-hole who was like a mob doctor and had somebody hit so that he could become the mayor himself, and he was just another part of Gotham's problems, and so you're just the legacy of that bat brat. So however you slice it, they literally gave you two options. They're like, either way, Bruce Wayne is just the product of privilege and a total asshole. Who knew? Because that's the thesis. That's the thesis of a movie like this. And this is like, you see this with the total inappropriate characterization. So if you watch the trailer, there was one trailer that used Nirvana's Something in the Way as one of the songs. And I'm like, interesting choice. Okay, good for like a gritty, dark, Batman movie. That kind of makes sense. What it doesn't make sense for is as the pointed characterization, which is how it's used in the movie, the pointed characterization for Bruce Wayne himself. One of the first times we actually see his face, not even his face, just him like tooling around his motorcycle. This is Bruce Wayne, this is who he is, and it's Something in the Way by Nirvana. Famously, a song that Kurt Cobain wrote about the time that he was homeless and living underneath a bridge. I know we're going for the feeling, we're going for the tone here, but there's just something that's to me that smacks as very, very out of touch as using that particular song. Any Nirvana songs that you could have chosen for this moment. I agree, there's a lot of great angst in Nirvana. I mean, you're right, great song. I wouldn't have said it damn word if you used that one, but all the songs, Something in the Way, such a deeply autobiographical song for somebody who's so very not like Bruce Wayne. Oh, but that's where I get it wrong, right? Because in woke messaging, it doesn't matter. In woke messaging, Kurt Cobain and Bruce Wayne have equal fucking privilege because they have one most important thing in common. They're both white men. And that's the other problem with this movie, right? That's the second thing. I told you there were two reasons why this does not work. Why them trying to subtly slip their woke messaging into this movie does not work. One, it falls apart in too many obvious ways. Two, a core piece of woke messaging is, of course, rejecting all white men as the pinnacle of evil. Batman is a white man. He is the hero of his story. No matter how you slice it, no matter how good, nuanced, damaged, not, whatever you want to be, Batman is the fucking hero of Batman. And so you cannot make woke Batman. This is not the place for it. This is not the stomping ground. There are 1,000,001 avenues within Batman to have really fascinating social commentary. But flat on white man bad wokeness does not fit, does not work, full stop, the end. Batman is actually a very special hero. He's a very special hero for a very special kind of person that doesn't get represented. They're the person who's different on the inside, who you can look at on the outside and go, yeah, you have money, so it doesn't matter you're an orphan because you have all this stuff. You have all this privilege. But as we all know from living a human fucking experience, no amount of money or mansions or access to wealth or anything can give you your fucking parents back or erase traumatic memories or horrible shit that's happened to you. And Batman stands for that, for people who don't have another thing to point at and say, this is why I'm hurt, or this is why I'm broken. You can even take it one step farther into social justice land and say he's an allegory for mental illness because his pain is invisible. But no, we can't have that. We have to erase Batman himself, his legacy, everything he stands for, everything that one of the most powerful, interesting, fascinating superheroes has meant for kids like me. Batman, I can't even tell you how much he meant to me growing up, but I'm not allowed to have that anymore. You're not allowed to have that anymore. We're not allowed to have that anymore because we need to have wokeness. Put that shit in any other superhero movie and make up your own. Make up your own superhero movie. Put that message in and I have nothing to say. And I have no problems. But you do not get to go take other people's properties and decide that you're going to change it all around, erase the work that's been done because something feels good for you. And Pancake agrees, hence all the ball rolling, enthusiastic playing, corroborating all the shit I'm saying. Anyway, that's it. That's what I got to say to you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this. You probably won't. You'll probably be like, oh my God, Jesse, you're so stupid. I loved that, man. How can you say that it was woke? It wasn't at all. Well, you got duped. So I'm sorry that you feel that way, that your cognitive dissonance is making you hate me for telling you the truth. But what else can I do? That's all I got for you tonight. Until next time, guys, make sure you're checking me out on 17 Live. Make sure you're on the Mindless Mob Discord. All those fun places. That's where more shit's happening. And until next time, God Empress out.